Welcome to Cougar Logic, the podcast where women over 35 break free from outdated health myths and embrace a life of strength, vitality, and real science. I'm Isabel, and along with my co-host Jennifer, we'll guide you through the power of carnivore and keto diets, ancestral health practices, and evidence-based strategies to help you thrive in perimenopause, menopause, and beyond. If you're ready to challenge conventional wisdom, fuel your body with what it truly means, and live stronger than ever, you're in the right place. The content on Cougar Logic is for inspiration and information only. We are coaches, not doctors, and can't know your unique health history. Use this podcast to spark curiosity and work with a supportive healthcare provider when making health decisions. Your journey is your own, and we're here to cheer you on. I'm very excited about today's episode, actually.
I feel like we could help a lot of people because this is where a lot of people get stuck.
Yeah, I think it's true. Like, we tend to talk a lot about, what to eat, but most people's problems do not come from from not knowing what to eat, maybe, but a lot of it is lifestyle habits, not being able to break the cycle of cravings is like such a huge deal. So yeah, I think that this one's a good one to
I
talk
feel
about.
like a lot of people don't realize when you're a little kid, you're a picky eater, and then you're a teenager and you don't eat well. And then you go to college and you're too poor to eat well. And so you go into adulthood and you've got 2 decades of not eating well habits, under your belt. And so trying to make that shift, like a lot of them don't have that grace for themselves,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
And then we have the world that's trying to sell you this no pain, no gain, it's all your fault
Yeah.
BS, which doesn't help.
It doesn't help. So yeah, so they just go through their entire life. And then it's not just so much the diet, but the way their life is organized or not organized
Mhm.
doesn't help them either, right? Like the fact that they don't know what they're gonna eat today. They didn't buy groceries for the week. Yeah, they don't, they don't have time because they're at work, and then they have their kids' extracurricular activities, and then they have all this stuff, and their entire days packed with things that
Mhm.
they need to do. And food just comes as like, okay, whatever we can get real quick.
Yeah. And I feel like people largely operate from this like subconscious place. This is how I've always done it. And so when you start making changes, you have to actively like make it a conscious decision. And
And it
that
can feel hard,
it's hard initially because
but it does, yeah.
but once you find your new flow,
Mhm.
it becomes your new normal, if you will.
Right. Yeah, it just takes a little bit of time. But I do want to just kind of mention, do you like the average person thinks that they're doing all of the things, but they still don't see the results? And if we really look at it, if they really take a good close look and an honest look at what they're doing, they're really not doing that much, right? I'm not blaming them, right? It is not their fault. You're actively doing the things that might be keeping you from making the changes, but sometimes we don't see it, right? Like we have to really take a close look at what's going on around us, what we're doing, what our habits are. And I have a really good personal experience actually with myself, not even that long ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I don't know if you know this, but Amy Fox, our health coach friend, lives here in San Antonio also. And so we became friends when I first moved here. But anyway, one year, it was right after Halloween. It was probably a few weeks into November. And I had Halloween candy in the house because I had bought this really cute candy bowl, and it's so stupid. But um, I was thinking like one piece of candy. I know better, but at the time, for whatever reason, I was like, oh, one piece of candy every now and then isn't gonna hurt, right? So in my head, I was having one piece of candy a day, but I wasn't having one piece of candy a day. Pretty much every time I walked by the damn thing, I'd open it and grab a piece of candy. And within a few days, I started not feeling well. My energy didn't feel the same. My skin was gross. Like a lot of things were not normal, right? And I was like what's going on, right? I kept doing my thing and eating my more than one piece of candy a day. Finally, I was like, oh my God, I need to talk to somebody. So I called Amy and I said, hey, I said, go over this with me, okay? Like this is happening. This is what I'm feeling. This is what do you think? And she's like, well, what are you doing differently? And I was like, I mean, nothing. I mean, this is what's going on. And then I mentioned the candy. And she's like, okay, so how often are you eating candy? And I was like, I don't know. I mean, once a day, maybe a couple times a day. I don't know, maybe more. And just by saying that out loud to her, I was like, God, it's the candy. But I had it, sometimes and that's where a health coach can be so helpful. A friend, but most of us don't have health coach friends. I'm lucky to have friends that can identify this sort of thing with me. So having somebody who can you can bounce this off of and they can be like, well, that doesn't sound right, right? Like, why are you eating candy, right? Like, you don't eat candy. Remember?
Mhm.
Somebody who can look at the bigger picture with you and make you realize these things is so helpful on so many levels. It's not necessarily your fault because you've been doing things a certain way for so long. You don't see what you're doing. And another thing that we tend to do is not notice our symptoms. I notice my symptoms right away. Like the moment I start feeling sick, my skin doesn't feel normal. I'm like, okay, something's wrong. I'm doing something, right? But most people have been ignoring that, like you mentioned, for 2 decades.
Well, they
They're not
think
listening to their bodies.
their headaches, their skin issues, their joint pain, their inability to lose weight, their digestive problems, like any of it, they think like, oh, well, like that's normal. That's how it's always been. Or they're so inflamed, your nervous system can only process so many signals. So it's almost like if I were to tap you on the shoulder in the same spot over and over, eventually it goes numb. And so, like, you have so much inflammation in your body, there's things you're putting in it that your body doesn't like, but you're not getting the message
Right.
because it's so overburdened.
Yeah, I can totally understand what you're saying there. It has to ignore that symptom because this is a more important one
Yeah,
that it's trying to tell you.
there's so many other
Absolutely.
things that are going on. And so this episode is for people that they think they're doing all the things and they feel like they're not making progress. And as much as I hate it for most people, that's usually like when it's not working, they're usually focused on weight loss,
Oh yeah.
which is, I mean, I get it. People want that. Like one of the biggest like industries out there is like the weight loss industry.
Yeah. And it's a symptom and it's the most noticeable and most uncomfortable one.
I always say it's not what you weigh, what are you made of? Because I weigh more, but I wear the same size. I just have more muscle, more bone density, things like that. Like I have a neighbor and his girlfriend is, she's like in her mid 40s, going through perimenopause. She's doing all the things, trying to lose weight. And like, of course, like nothing's working, which for most people, they go to the default of the whole calorie game. I'm going to eat less, fewer calories, and I'm going to exercise really hard, which when you're in perimenopause, that is not going to work for you. You're going to make everything worse. You're going to jack up your hormones more, and you're not going to lose weight.
Right.
Because when you are eating fewer calories, by default, you're usually eating less fat, which your body needs fat to make your hormones.
I mean, yeah. They keep and it's like the same thing that you've been doing your entire life that hasn't been working. It's the same thing you're trying to do again. Like
Yeah.
I ran and I starved myself, but I must have not done it hard enough because it didn't work. So let me try harder this time.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like, if something is going to work for you, it's going to work and it's going to last, as opposed to every time you've gone on this like crazy calorie chasing game and yeah, you lose a little weight, but it's never going to last because your hunger hormones are going to increase. Your hormones that tell you you're full are going to decrease. Nobody can win that game. And so this whole societal concept of like you don't have enough willpower is complete and total bullshit. Like
Yep.
nobody's ever going to win that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it's not what do you burn during your hour long workout? What do you burn the other 23 hours of the day? That's what you want to get to, is a place where your body remembers how to burn fat all day long. And then weight loss is super simple.
And honestly, like I know we are mostly focused on perimenopause and menopause and carnivore, but it goes for everyone across the board. Really,
Mhm.
like the same thing that we're telling you to do for yourself in perimenopause is the same thing a 20-year-old can do, the same lifestyle habits, the same, all of the things that you can apply to yourself now. You can apply to your kids, you can apply to your husband, teaching your kids early about just a healthy lifestyle, and not just when it comes to food, but when it comes to everything, right? Like having a good bedtime, healthy, normal bedtime, healthy, normal wake up time, movement in your day. All of those things are crucial to start learning at such a young age, and nobody teaches you that.
No, and that's one of the issues I have with so many of these, like, popular programs out there, that are just focused on calories. They completely ignore all the lifestyle things, and it's not just a calorie game, because,
It's absolutely not a
you
calorie
know,
thing.
sleep is just as important as exercise if you wanna lose weight. Sleep isn't what we talked about in our last.
Yeah, I think it's more important than exercise.
Yeah, like, if you're not sleeping, you shouldn't be exercising. Start there.
Yeah, honestly, like, do not tell me you're gonna get up at 5 in the morning to exercise if you are sleeping 5 hours a night. Like, that is wrong.
That is
Like,
not gonna
it's
work for
in
you.
so many ways. It's not worth it. You're not getting what you need out of it at all. Because again, exercise is not for weight loss. And that is something that is like, I mean, I exercise on a daily basis. And if my diet's not on point, there is no weight loss happening, right? Like, none at all. Exercise only builds muscle, sure, which can, in the long run, help you to lose weight and keep weight, mainly. Helps with mental and emotional and stress and all those things, yes. But none of those things are like going to be any better for you if you're not sleeping correctly.
I, have this patient that she's about my height, but she's built like most tall girls. She's a lot bigger. And she's like, "I've always been big, and, I hate it because my mom and my sister both had, like, the weight reduction surgeries, and now they're, like, super small, but I'm still, like, really big," and she's like, "I eat really well." She's like, "I don't understand." And I was like, "Well, what did you have?" And she's like, "Well, for breakfast, I made these egg cups." So it's, like, eggs with some egg whites, some cheese, some of them have broccoli in them. Okay, not horrible. And then for lunch, she's like, "I had this protein lentil pasta," which, you're shaking your head. Uh, and then for dinner, she's like, "I made chili." And I was like, "Well, what'd you put in your chili?" And she's like, "Ground beef." And then she added like 6 cans of beans. And so, like, one of the things we're gonna talk about is women don't eat enough protein. In her mind, and to most people listening to that, they're gonna think, "Wow, like, she ate really well, that's a lot of fiber, a lot of protein," which when I told her that, I said, "Well, what I heard from what you said is basically you ate a lot of sugar." And she's like, "What?" Yeah, like, beans don't count as protein. Those are carbs, because most of what's in there as protein, your body's just not going to really absorb very well.
Yeah. I try to explain that to people often when it comes to peanut butter. People love to say peanut butter is protein, and I'm like, oh my God. Peanut butter, beans, they have protein. They are not protein, right? Like,
Light grains, beans, they have the phytates and the lectins. And the phytates bind to the minerals so you can absorb them. And they also bind to the air quote protein that's in there. So you don't really absorb that either. And then nuts, if you think about it from a hunter gatherer perspective, and when nuts are usually in season is late in the summer. So you eat a bunch of nuts, they're going to help you put on fat for the winter because they have a lot of linoleic acid. And
yeah.
so, if you're sitting around eating nuts all the time and you're like, how come I'm not losing weight? Never mind, they're roasted in seed oils.
I will say I used nuts. Nuts and almond butter were like my crutch when I first started down the paleo diet. And
Yeah.
it's valid, right? It's
Yeah.
valid. We all had them. We all used them. They're a crutch. Eventually, I moved away from them, thank God, because they were not helping. So yeah, so today we're going to talk about why it is that we cannot, or that you can't make progress on your goals. What's blocking you from accomplishing your goals? So, and I'll even talk about my case right now, right? Like where I'm at mentally and with my goals, the goals that I have coming moving forward, hopefully eventually getting on stage, those things that puts me at a different, what am I doing wrong? Where am I not zeroed in to my diet and zeroed into, because that's going to keep me from making that kind of progress. But beginning from just like it's just want to lose 20 pounds to begin with, right? I'm 30 pounds overweight or 40 pounds overweight. There's certain things that you really need to look at. Are you actually doing them? How often are you not actually doing them? All of those things we're going to talk about today, and we're going to see what we can do, or at least let you see those things, or let the people see those things so that they can be like, you know what? I do that.
What I'm most excited to talk about is the mindset aspect, because that is where I feel like a lot of people defeat themselves.
Yeah. I totally get why they feel defeated. I mean, nothing's worked.
Yeah. And so they get excited to go, like, okay, I'm going to do this new thing. But yet in the back of their mind, they're like, nothing works for me. Like, this is my body. This is how it's always been. This runs in my
Yeah.
family. Like, I'm just like, they're already doomed before they start. And you
That
can't.
belief system is, the whole like it's genetics. This is
Mhm.
I've been chubby my whole life. God, like, don't tell yourself that. That's not
No, I
who you
mean,
are.
it's interesting to me out there what people will cling on to. Like, anyone can put up a before and after photo of themselves, like when they were overweight and then they lost weight. And you could sell somebody like, hey, I want you to eat snails with dog turd gravy. And they'd be like, I'll do it. They're like, I want to lose weight that bad. Like, I'm going to do that. Whereas opposed to like my neighbor I was talking to, he wants to lose some weight. And he looks at me and he's like, well, you're fit. Like, people just assume that this is just how I am and I won some genetic lottery. And it's like, no.
No.
Like, well, that's you. Like, well, it's is me because I do what I do,
Yeah.
Like, I can
I
help
know.
you.
This is me because I put in the work and the time and the effort to be this, to
Like,
look
I
the way that I
just,
look and feel the way that I feel. Let's talk about the all or nothing mentality.
all right.
Okay, so first of all, I'm not talking about diet. I'm not talking that, because it's easy for people to be
This
like,
applies
oh
to
yeah,
everything,
yeah, yeah, it applies
fitness,
to everything,
whatever.
because people will automatically tell me or us that, well, about it. And I don't mean, I'm talking about like work that you put in. So just so you know, I don't feel deprived on the carnivore diet. You don't feel deprived on the We are in no way in the all or nothing mentality because we're carnivore. So what I'm talking about is people, and I see this on the street all the time, is like, overweight people with a weighted vest pounding the pavement in 95-degree weather
Hmm.
because they want, and I would literally want to roll down the window and be like, honey, that's not how you do this. Like, you, you're never going to want to do this again. Like, how much, like, that's not how you start.
Well, people think like if it doesn't suck in some way, or if it doesn't hurt, or if it's not miserable, then it's not going to work. And that couldn't be further from, I mean, because honestly, like, who is motivated by this sucks for a long time? Nobody. Like, you're not going to sustain that. And when
God
you,
wanted us to be miserable, we would have starved. If God wanted us to run and eat like what egg whites our whole life, we would have never evolved to where we are right now, because we would have died out, because it would have sucked so much. Nobody would, we would have just starved. So that's the all or nothing mentality, is they're motivated today. They
Mhm.
go out on day one, and then you are sore, tired. It was an awful experience. and you never want to do it again. So then you don't do it again for another 2, 3 weeks, or next month you'll do it again one time. And that's not going to work because you did, no, you went all in one day and then nothing for so long and then all in again on another day. Like, so that's when it comes to exercise.
Well, that and like they're exercising because I see them on the treadmill at the gym, like just going like this little Energizer buddy, like the January people. I just want to go grab them off the treadmill. Like, I get what you're trying to do here, but you're exercising at such a high intensity. You're not burning fat. When you're done here, you're going to go crave carbohydrates in some form. And then you're going to tell yourself because you worked hard, you deserve them. And you're going to eat more than your liver and your muscles can store. And the extra is going to get stored as body fat. And so it's like this negative feedback cycle, which is just, and this is one of those places where people, they think they're doing all the things, but it's not working. Well, you're doing a lot of things. One, you're making it way too hard on yourself. Because that's the thing people don't get is like health is incredibly simple.
Yeah, it really is.
And when you say that to people, they're like, it's like they don't believe you. They're like, no, like it's gotta hurt. No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. And then the other thing is again, with the all or nothing mentality, food wise also, right? It's like, I don't know. I saw that I've heard people at like stores or the mall or just like random places where like, are you gonna do your keto today? I'll hear conversations, right? And one girl will ask another girl, are you gonna do your keto today? Oh no, honey, it's Friday. I'm gonna go like eat whatever I want to eat. And I'm like, okay, not just keto, any
Anything.
nutritional regimen that you want to do, okay? Because I do believe that anything can work for you if done correctly and for long enough time, right? It can work. Not like that. Like, this isn't today because it's Thursday, I'll do keto, and tomorrow I'll go stuff myself with a carbohydrate, a burger and a shake. Like, that's not, that's all or nothing mentality. Today I'm all in, tomorrow I'm not, right? No.
I'm going to disagree because I don't think absolutely any diet is going to work for everybody because most people don't have insulin sensitivity anymore. Like Mediterranean diet where you still have your bread and your pasta, that's too many carbs for you.
No, yeah. No, and you're absolutely right about that. You are absolutely right about that. And the whole thing with carbohydrates too, I don't think that we shouldn't have any ever. I just think that the problem is that that we are all so insulin resistant now that, yeah, we really can't be eating any more carbohydrates. It wasn't always like that. I'm sure at some point, we could have them. There's fruit in nature for a reason, but we're just so not we're so unhealthy now that you're just better off not doing it at all. So, I mean, what do you think?
I started reading Dr. Kate Shanahan's book, Dark Calories, all about seed oils. And this is why most people are insulin resistant is over time, what they do is they make it so your body cannot burn body fat for energy. It has to rely on sugar. And so they set the stage for diabetes, metabolic syndrome, insulin resistant. And then you add in like these lifestyle things that spike cortisol, that increase blood sugar. Your body can't access body fat to burn it. And then, I mean, if you look at obesity rates and when the government came in with their food pyramid with, 6 to 11 servings of grains a day and how it took off after that. So combine the seed oils, combine our stressful lifestyle, cell phones, and then, add in like all the plant-based nonsense and, eat all your grains because they're air quote healthy, even though they're covered in Roundup. And that's why everybody struggles. And I know for me, when I see someone that's, like really overweight, like I know they've probably gone on more than one diet. They probably done calorie restriction, heavy exercise. I see somebody who has done exactly what they were told, and my heart goes out to them because I I feel for them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it's the combination of it with the, like you mentioned, the exercise and the stressors is just not going to work for them. But again, like that, it's still like the all or nothing mentality. That is not how any of this works. You have to think of it as like life, you have to be healthy for life. You don't want to lose 20 pounds for a month. You want to
No.
lose 20 pounds, keep them off, and be healthy for life. So that requires a lifetime of healthy choices, not one day yes, one day no. And the other thing that I see so much of, and I struggled with that for a long, 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 long time, my entire life. And I think it goes back also to the whole, we school, work, right? We go to school Monday through Friday, all or nothing Saturday, Sunday,
Mhm.
work Monday through Friday, free days Saturday and Sunday. And we have that mentality when it comes to our health too, right? Monday through Friday, we're going to work out. Monday through Friday, we're going to eat healthy. And then Saturday and Sunday, we eat all the things. And that does not work. You cannot do
No.
that. You are literally, and it's the thing that they say is like, oh, it's because the little doesn't hurt, or the balance. And I'm like, no, because that weekend, even if you, let's say, which doesn't happen, like you do at least put on the 5 pounds that you took off, you're going to put them back on and bloat and water weight. And then you have to work those 5 pounds back off again the next week. Besides that, you're triggering your sugar like monster, right?
Uh-huh.
So if you did it all good Monday through Friday, not even probably Monday through Thursday, and you might have been like detoxing from sugar already and doing great and feeling good. Friday comes and it's like, well, it's Friday. So you dig in and now you're having to start that all over again. So it does affect you. A little bit does affect you.
And that's why I don't like cheat days,
Yeah.
especially like I want to say the first 6 months,
Mhm.
because you're trying to break old habits. You're trying to get away from like sugar addiction. You're trying to set up a new pattern. Well, if you leave one foot back here in the past where it's still comfortable, how are you going to be able to ever step forward? And most people don't. They go back to where it's comfortable and easy.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so it's, like I always say, like if you keep feeding the stray cats, like they're going to keep coming back. Like
That
if you,
weekend binge just is a disaster. It creates a disaster, and you have to start over again on Monday. And then the start over again on Monday mentality is, I get it. Like, okay, let's say Wednesday, you leave work, you go with your friends to your coworkers are like, hey, we're going to go have a margarita. And you're like, man, I want to go have a margarita. You go, you have a margarita, maybe you eat some chips and salsa. Right? That's fine. My mentality is, or what I see happening is, damn it, well, I already screwed it up. I might as well start over again on Monday. And that's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Before you start over again on Monday, and all those 4 days, you just like really destroyed everything that you were working for. Instead, because it happens, right? Like, again, this is for life. So it happens. I sometimes go have a margarita.
yeah,
I sometimes eat chips and salsa,
yeah,
right? But after, like that's it. I eat those chips and salsa and the rest, and I move on. Like my next meal isn't, well, I might as well just have this slice of cake because
yeah.
I already ate chips and salsa. No, it's okay. My next meal is back to normal, right? Like
I
it's
mean,
that one occasion versus,
I will admit, like, it took me a while, as it probably does everybody. Like, the more carbs you eat, the more carbs you want to eat. And so you go out to dinner and you have like the dessert or the chips and salsa or whatever. And then the next day you wake up and it's like like cinnamon rolls or like donuts sound really good. And it's being able to recognize that and go, wait a minute, this is last night talking.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go make some eggs.
Yeah. And it took so long. Honestly, it took me long too to recognize that.
Hmm.
But now it makes it a lot easier now, right? Like even
Because you
though we
see it.
don't do that, if
Yeah.
it happens, right? We recognize it the next day and are able to just like, oh my God, whatever, and eat it. But most people can't recognize that,
Mm-mm.
you know, it just continues. Like it's a thing that you have to really keep in mind every time, you know, you have to know that that's what's going to happen. But most people don't know that. And they don't even see sugar as addictive the way we do.
No, it's that automatic default. And then, like, they say they go out like on Monday and they're busy and they didn't like prep any food. And when you go out and about and you're looking for something quick to eat, on the surface, it looks like there are no healthy options. So it's really learning
Mhm.
where to find real food, basically. I mean, it's not, I mean, you and I can find real food, but we know, like, hey, if I go into a burger joint, any burger joint, and just order a bunch of meat patties, that's going to be far healthier than like their grilled chicken salad.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I feel so the salad actually I hadn't even thought about talking about that. But the any salad, right? Let's say, and I go through this with my clients all the time. You want to eat, you need to eat protein,
Mhm.
right? So what did you have for lunch? I had a grilled chicken salad. That I guarantee you that salad didn't even have 4 ounces of chicken.
Why not?
And the lettuce fills them up so much that most of the time they end up not eating the chicken. Salads are a huge deal because everybody, is like, I had a salad and they're so proud of themselves.
I know. I don't eat salad. I
I don't
used
eat
to.
salad
I don't
either.
anymore. Well,
If I
that
do, I
and
call it a carnivore salad and it has no veggies. It's just meat with fat on it.
put the seed oil dressing all over it that you're going to get at any restaurant because nobody is giving you like seed oil free dressing. And so you've got this, usually iceberg lettuce that has the nutrition of a tissue napkin. And then, like this toddler portion of chicken. And then you
Yeah.
covered it in seed oils that are going to prevent your body from being able to burn body fat, which is the whole reason you're eating the salad.
If you're gonna eat a salad, you're better off eating it at home, where you decide how much lettuce is in there. If you need lettuce, you put chicken on there, and you choose. Like I've been eating what I call a carnivore Cobb salad, and it's in Courtney Luna's carnivore book. It's chicken, boiled eggs, bacon, and it's so good. Girl, you gotta try this. And then the dressing is Dijon mustard and melted butter. And it's kind of you make it
No,
yourself.
that sounds so good. Oh my
Girl, it's
gosh.
so good. Oh, and it has gorgonzola cheese crumbles.
Oh my goodness.
So you gotta try it. In a food processor, you're gonna put the melted butter and the Dijon mustard, and it's gonna make the dressing.
That sounds amazing.
So good. It's so good. It's so freaking good.
Like, I'd want to put like an egg yolk in there and make it more like a Caesar-ish.
Could do that. So good. And it has like, freaking 10 ounces of chicken versus a chicken salad, a Cobb salad that you get somewhere else, going to have a handful of little fake chicken, probably too.
That's what James Clear says in Atomic Habits. Like, no one is going to be perfect forever with every little choice that they make. Like, that is unrealistic. So just drop that. But he's like, don't miss twice. So yeah, you go out and you have your margarita chips and salsa, whatever. Then next time you don't do the same thing. You go back to whatever it is you were doing. So he's like,
Uh-huh.
if you want to build that muscle, he's like, you don't let yourself fail twice in a row, whatever that failure in your head is.
Right. So that's so freaking important for people to catch themselves thinking that, right? Well, I
Mm-hmm.
already messed up. I might as well start over on Monday, which is 4 days from now, 5 days from now. No,
Yeah.
no, you messed up. That's it. You just move on. Keep moving forward.
All right.
And now we're going to not enough protein, even on carnivore.
Yeah, because I mean, carnivore for me is very satiating, especially because I put butter on everything. There are days I've noticed that when I track my food, I tend to eat more every other day.
Mhm.
That's just going by natural like hunger cues. So like the days where I eat less, I may eat like 1,800 calories, and then the next day it's like 2,400 calories. I don't know why. That's just what I do. But like we were talking before with like the beans, like plant protein is not one, it's not a complete protein. 2, there's usually things in the way preventing your body from absorbing it. 3, if you're going to get, enough of the same bioavailable protein eating beans as you would from like meat, you're going to eat so many carbohydrates that you're never going to reach your goal.
So that, but also, and in the from the perspective of being able to not be so starving that you're gonna make all the wrong choices. Protein is going to 100% keep you satisfied longer. It'll manage that desire to want to eat and snack in between meals. It'll help balance your blood sugar so that you are not constantly on this roller coaster of energy and tiredness or hunger and not hunger. So eating more, and I know that I think you're more on the higher fat bandwagon than I am, or I'm on the higher protein.
Yeah, I remember when I first tried paleo in my 20s, because I don't know, I read the book, it just made sense. Protein did not fill me up because I was so carb dependent at that time. And so, I mean, there's tons of research out there showing like the more protein you eat, the easier it is to lose weight. And that, I mean, has been well established. The thing people need to look out for is in terms of percentage of your calories, you don't want protein to be the biggest macro because then you can get into something called rabbit starvation, which one of the gals I used to work with was a bodybuilder, and that's how she basically got ready for shows, was rabbit starvation. And to watch her mood just completely tank because there was no fat. So you can either eat fat or you can eat carbohydrates. And the carbohydrates that your body doesn't store will get turned into fat. When you do it that way, through carbohydrates, you're going to get that insulin response. And insulin is a storage hormone. So when you're getting your fat from those carbohydrates and insulin is always high, 1, you're going to ride the sugar roller coaster. 2, your body isn't going to be able to pull fat from storage to use it. And so this is where eating animal fats, not the seed oils. So like your butter, tallow is honestly the best fat if you're looking to lose weight because it reverses the damage from the seed oils. You want to gradually increase your intake of fat. You don't want to, jump into high fat carnivore overnight because you're going to have a miserable time. You are, if you're taking, yeah, you're going to have diarrhea. If you're taking any kind of medication, you need to do it gradually because insulin is your master hormone. And so as you start gradually eating fewer carbohydrates, you're going to start making less insulin, which is then going to affect all these other bodily processes. So you really need to work with a medical provider who's going to work with you. I see that so often where these doctors are still giving people like this nonsense advice of like, that's bad for your cholesterol. Like, cholesterol is not a problem, never has been a problem.
There's so much information out there now on that. So it's ridiculous how many studies have already been put out, and still people are like, and doctors, it's like, come on, guys, keep up here.
Come on.
But so, yeah, I mean, absolutely. Fat is super, super important to continue to include in your diet at a good amount. But I find that the biggest issue is protein, right? Like it's so you don't want to do just when I say protein, I'm not saying a chicken breast, right? I'm saying a New York strip or ribeye. I'm saying chicken thighs with the skin on, or chicken thighs wrapped in bacon. Like that's what I'm talking about when I say protein. So definitely, your fat included, and most delicious cuts of protein will have the necessary fat already included in it. So I do think that it's good for people to track their food, at least so they can learn what it looks like to eat a decent amount of food.
And I agree with that because like even before you start making any changes, just track what you are eating for a week. And I like the Chronometer app because it will give you like your weekly average. So like, I mean, because let's be honest, you're not going to perfectly hit every number every day. So it'll give you like your weekly average for different vitamins and micronutrients too. But it gives you like a very detailed breakdown as opposed um and so like start there, like see what you have to know where you're at to know where you're going. And yeah, I mean that's how you start to learn what's in different things. You know, if I eat a pound of beef, what does that look like?
Most of the time I have clients, when I can get them to do it, because they don't, nobody likes to track their food. But when I can get a client to do it and they do the tracking for a week or 2 weeks, the biggest thing that we find is like, it's like less than 100 grams of protein, most people,
Mm-hmm.
and 150 to 200 grams of carbohydrates. And then the fat is like, I don't know, all over the place.
All over the place.
So, you know where to start, right? Decrease that carbohydrate, increase that protein intake, and be a little more consistent with your fat intake. It's a place to start, but they struggle, and I get it because it is a learning process. It's a process to get in the habit of weighing your food, tracking your food every single time you eat can be daunting,
Mm-hmm.
time consuming. It's not very enjoyable until, I mean, for me, it's still not enjoyable, but I'm just in the habit of doing it. So I don't even think about it anymore. I just do it and it's fine. For people to just learn, what are you eating? You don't even know what you're eating or how much.
When I track mine, I've never used a scale to weigh anything. I go with like the eyeball method. Like, yeah, that looks like that was about 2 cups. And, like if it's meat, I'm like, okay, so there was, 2 pounds in that package. I ate about half of it. So I'm going to put 16 ounces, whatever. I feel like that might make it a little bit easier. The other thing is, I mean, most of us, tend to eat the same things repeatedly, and Chronometer will save those things that you regularly eat. So once you have it in there, you just go back and add it again.
Yeah, you just tap, tap, tap. The same thing. So enough protein is different for everybody because it just depends also on a lot of things. Like 200 grams of protein for my husband is what he needs. So it's going to depend on the person's size, the person's sex, how much they really need, or how much enough protein is. But 100 grams of protein is not enough for anyone.
Yeah, 100 grams should be your minimum.
Minimum. And that's if you're tiny.
A lot of the doctors we follow say 1 gram per pound of like your goal body weight, your ideal body weight. So I weigh about 160. So I aim for, about 160 grams a day.
But imagine a woman who is 200 pounds. She cannot eat a gram of protein per pound of body weight. That's 200 grams of protein.
Well, I mean,
And I'm not saying it's bad for her, but it's a lot to expect. It's a lot.
there's a difference between somebody who's 200 pounds, pretty sedentary, and has a lot of body fat versus, say, someone that's my height, very muscular, very active, weighs 200 pounds, but is completely ripped. Like they have the
Oh, they
muscle.
probably already need that.
They're going to need that, right?
Yeah.
And so that's where it's like, say you're 200 pounds and you want to lose weight, like say you want to weigh 130 or 150, that would be how many grams of protein.
So you have to think about what is your ideal, what is that you're aiming for? What's your ideal body weight? And then go with that. Obviously, if you're 50 pounds overweight, you're not going to go with your body weight when it comes to choosing how much protein you're getting.
The other thing I see people get confused on is they would maybe think like if I ate 8 ounces of hamburger, that would be, 8 ounces of protein. That's like, that's not how it works. Different cuts of meat are going to have different amounts of protein per pound. And so that's where using an app is helpful.
Normally, the cuts of meat that have higher fat will have a little less protein. The leaner cuts of meat will have more protein.
Usually, yeah.
So keep those things in mind when you're figuring out whether or not you're eating enough protein. Most women don't consume enough protein, neither do most men. End of story. Start there. Start looking at how much protein you're consuming every day. That's going to be helpful for you.
And I get it that the world is trying to take it away from us. When you look at like the price of eggs and the price of meat, I'm just convinced they want us all like weak and big pharma dependent.
Yep.
The other thing to look for is hidden ingredients. So I was at the store yesterday and I was going to get heavy cream. And it's a brand that I'd never seen before. So I picked it up and I looked at it. And it has monodiglycerides and polysorbate 80. And I'm like, why is that in heavy cream? Monodiglycerides are trans fats, which everybody knows are completely horrible for you. So don't just assume because it says heavy cream or half and half on the front that that's all it is. You have to go in and actually look at the ingredients.
Every time you buy something that's in a package, before you look at anything else, before you look at nutrition facts, which everybody's trained or like
Yeah.
told to look at nutrition facts, and sure, that's important, but it's second to the ingredients list. Look at that first, and you will be amazed at how many foods you will not eat just based on that.
A lot of people I think are overwhelmed by this because they're like, I don't have time to go through the store and read every little single thing. So my advice is start with what's already in your kitchen. Look through your pantry, look through your refrigerator, and look and see what you're eating right now. Start there.
And if you don't have time to look through every single thing at the grocery store, the majority of your food should not be in the package anyway. Stick to the perimeter of the store. That's one of the first lessons that I think we learned when we started on the paleo diet. Got your fruits, your veggies, you've got your fish, you've got your poultry and steak and beef and eggs, and all in the perimeter of the store. The only reason you're going into the aisles is if you're buying, now there's tallow in there, coconut oil. What else do you buy in the aisles that's worthy? There's not much. You shouldn't spend that much time in the aisles themselves.
If you get tomatoes, make sure they're in a glass jar. If you are going to buy coffee, I'm on team organic because if it's not organic, it makes me dizzy. Like really not in a good way. So I mean, those things are going to be in the aisles, but
Yeah, there's not a whole lot.
there's really
So,
not.
so you shouldn't be spending a lot of time reading labels. I mean,
Like
that's the truth.
like if you go to like the bar section, like all the air quote protein bars.
No.
No. I would say Epic bars would probably be like
Whatever
one I would
bars, those are
buy.
carbs. I mean, it's cashews and dates. I know that was one of
Yeah.
my crunch foods when I first
I mean
went
they're
paleo.
clean,
They're
but they're
clean.
sugar. Yeah, the
Yeah,
lower bars.
dates and cashews are the base. So, I mean, if you're gonna do that, you can do that. There's not very many protein bars that you can have out there. Well, I mean, have you ever had the RX bar?
I have, but I saw Saladino did some RX bars that had some junk ingredients in them.
Yeah, because there's two types of RX bars.
So the ones that have, like the 5 ingredients, like the egg whites and
Those
nuts
are
or whatever.
the good ones.
Those are the good ones. Yeah.
Well, there are bars, RX bars. I don't know what the Epic ones are. I haven't heard of those.
Epic, those are they're like meat bars.
Oh, the meat bars. Yeah, Epic meat
Yeah.
ones.
So that
Chomps. But they're
chomps are
meat.
okay.
They're turkey.
Yeah. Fatties.
Fatties are awesome.
That's pretty much it. I mean, the ingredients should be like 1 or 2 lines, and they should all be things that you could buy for your kitchen. You're never going to buy sodium erythorbate for your kitchen.
So, if you've never heard of that word, if you look at the label and you're like, I'm not going to read this shit. It's too long. All of this, that automatic, no. Right, like automatic. It doesn't take long.
I picked up these sausages yesterday, and I kid you not, the paragraph on on a package of like 6 sausages was this long, and you get to the bottom, like, yeah, red number 3. I'm like, why? No, I'm not eating that.
Ignoring calorie density.
See, this is where I don't know, I think you and I disagree because I don't think calories matter.
I don't think calories matter either. I don't count calories. No. I count macros. I know that might not be different, but it's different for me.
Yeah. No, because I know, I mean, I am seeing someone who is my height and he competes in strongman competitions. So he's much larger than I am. And we go sit down to eat I eat more than he does. And he's just
Why?
that because I just eat till I'm full. And he's like, how do you eat that much? I mean, like if we sat down and we're eating like hamburgers or steak or eggs or whatever, he's like, how can you eat as much as or more than I can, like in one sitting?
Why does he not eat that much? That was my question.
He's full.
How does he get full so fast? Especially that now that he's gone carnivore. He should be eating way more because he doesn't have the fillers of anything else.
He just says the fat fills him up.
Maybe that'll change.
So I don't know. It's interesting though.
So, okay, the whole calorie thing. First of all, I don't count. I couldn't tell you. I make sure I meet my protein and I make sure I meet my fat. That's it. And that I'm not eating carbs or more than 20 grams of carbs a day. That's what I'm doing, right? I'm not really looking at how much calories are in a food. I couldn't tell you how much calories there is in 4 ounces of ground beef, but I can tell you how much protein there is. Right.
Yeah.
So that is, and that's my mentality around that. And the other thing is that it matters when that's where the whole what are your goals comes in, right? Healthy, balanced hormones, comfortable weight, clothes fits is one goal, right? Like one, you don't have to maybe know exactly how much. And then there's like a body composition goals, right? Like in my head, I want to compete at some point on stage. That's where you have to rein it in a little bit more. We're at a point, right, in our lifestyle. It's not going to make a difference for us one way or another. I can't lose five 10 pounds. I can't lose 5 to 10 pounds in a month. Like that's not going to happen because, I already eat all the good things and I'm already at a healthy weight so that's not going to happen. The only way that's going to happen is if I'm extremely detailed about what I eat. It's just what I'm doing right now for myself and for the goals that I have. And if a person was out there, if a woman in her perimenopause was out there who is already fit, but she wants to compete or wants to get shredded. Okay. Right. Like now we go into this little minute stuff. Overall, though, no, you're right. Like it's not as important. It's more important to make dietary food changes.
Yeah, I find that a lot of time women that are in the perimenopause, menopause, they're so focused on trying to lose weight that one, they don't eat enough. They don't eat enough protein. They don't eat enough fat. So usually what happens when you're cutting your calories is you end up eating sugar.
Yeah. Calories is not where you want to start making changes. It's not helpful.
No, it's not helpful because your body does different things with different types of calories.
Yeah.
So a steak is going to fill you up. It's going to give you a ton of nutrients. Yeah, it's going to be more calories, but it's going to give your body what it needs. And like I always tell people, like if we were to cut you open on the inside, you are made of red meat. So when you eat red meat, your body just understands what to do with it. It's like recognizes like.
All right. Yeah, that makes sense. It makes sense when you say it like recognizes like. One example, it's funny because people don't see it this way. The moment you tell a person, okay, calories are the most important thing, cool. So let's say you have 2,000 calories worth of chicken on rice and broccoli and 2,000 calories worth of yogurt. And you ask anybody, is that going to be the same in your body? Is that going to do the same thing to you? And they're like, no. Ding, ding,
There
ding,
you
ding.
go.
Same. That's like period. End of story. So let's go with the healthy food that what they think is healthy food. And delicious but unhealthy food, same amount of calories. Tell me that you're going to feel great and you're going to believe that you're going to lose weight.
Right?
Like,
Well, I mean,
so
the whole calorie thing is based on what happens when you burn different foods in an oven. You are not an oven.
you're not an oven, people.
You're not an oven.
Yeah. So it does not work the same way.
The other thing I see people do is they get so focused on the restriction aspect of like, I can't have this, I can't have that. And that becomes a challenge because, again, that's like an aspect of like, this sucks. And so what I always tell my clients is focus on all the things you can add. So like most people, they go to the grocery store, they buy like the same 5 vegetables. The next time you go, like pick up a parsnip or a rutabaga or celery root or something that you never buy and try it. Then you start to turn it into this game where you start to make it fun, something you can get excited about. And when you start adding more good things, by default, it makes less room for the other junk.
Yeah. And not just okay, so you used vegetables, which isn't a great like delicious example. Let's use butter. Like now you can eat butter and be happy. Like think about it. Why do you think we're so happy with our diet? Because we can eat butter and I can eat the fat off the ribeye and we can, like these things make you happy that you thought you couldn't eat before. Bacon, you know,
Like
all
even
these things that people are afraid to eat, guess what? You can eat them.
like with meat, being carnivore, I find different cuts of meat and I try and find different ways to make them. I make a game of it. How many different ways can you make a chuck roast? There's a lot of them.
There's there's a lot of them. Let Right. I've made chuck roast in the crock pot before. Mostly that's how I used to always make it. But it's my least favorite way of making it. Now I cover it in salt and then you put it in the fridge for like 3 days and then you cook it in the oven and it's like a ribeye, but like this fat and this big. Okay. It's the best thing ever. And it's salty. I love it. It's delicious.
And I gotta say, like Salt Lick down in Texas, that
Yeah.
is seriously the best barbecue I've ever had. And the thing I love about it is essentially it's just meat and salt. You don't need fancy sauces, you don't need fancy rubs. And so I bought myself a dehydrator last year.
I've been wanting to do that.
Like I'll go to the store. The most recent batch I made, I just bought like fajita strips that are already cut up
Mhm.
and I just lay them on the rack. And the only thing I put on there is salt. And
Fajitas?
it's, yeah, like beef fajita strips.
Have
I
you
just,
tried making it with the carnivore crisps and all that, the carnivore
yeah.
snacks brand? They have brisket and ribeye
hmm
ones that are so freaking delicious because they have the fat on there. Have you ever tried making the ribeyes on the dehydrator?
I have not because I feel like to get them crispy like that, I'm gonna
You have to
need
get
like I need like a official grinder because me
yeah.
and my knife, we don't
No,
come
you can,
close.
but you can have them do it for you at the butcher shop.
Can you?
Slice it down. Take it.
Oh,
Could you get this? They'll use their machine, slice it down for you to like whatever thinness you want, and then you can use it.
oh, girlfriend, you just got it.
I need a dehydrator.
You need a dehydrator. Yes, it is. I mean, because jerky is stupid expensive, and so you go buy it.
Yes,
And
and carnivore crisps are ridiculously expensive.
they're so expensive. I mean, I get it. I mean, my dehydrator runs for 8 hours, but I put
I
them
get
in.
it. I absolutely get it.
Yeah.
Oh, you could also try making pemmican. I've been
Yes.
wanting to make pemmican,
I
but
want to make
I'm
pemmican
kind of.
too.
But anyway, yum. Hey, did you see that there was today? I actually was gonna go, but actually it was yesterday. I signed up to go, but I didn't have a car yesterday. The Primal Health coaches got together in Austin.
Mhm.
I made the I reserved my spot to go, but then I wasn't able to go. I was so upset though because I think Mark Sixton was going to be there. Aaron Powers.
You still haven't met him, have you?
No, I'm like the only Primal Health coach who hasn't met him. He needs to just come visit me.
Oh my goodness.
Still haven't met him. What the hell? That's not even fair. Has everyone met him?
I have a picture with him. I'm taller than Mark Sisson, but
Are you? I didn't realize
I'm
he was that
taller than
tall.
everybody almost,
Yeah, it's like he's a normal man. Why
right?
wouldn't you be taller than him? For women in perimenopause and menopause.
Your adrenal glands should pick up where your ovaries are dropping off. So they should be able to fill the gap to make your hormones. But when you're not sleeping, when you're overly stressed, when you're exercising too hard, when you're not eating enough, all of these things add to that adrenal stress, that fight or flight way of existing in the world. That's where, turn off like the world news. You don't need that on your phone. You don't
Yeah.
need all those stressful things to show up the instant they happen.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about it, just a couple 100 years ago, the news you got was what happened locally. And you think about it now, how many things happen locally? Not very many. So instead, we're getting world news as it happens all day long. Like, you don't need that. I mean, yes, you can go be informed, but choose when you're going to do that.
Yeah. Just look to right before smartphones, which is what, in the 2000s. When did the smartphones start cropping up?
I think I got
I was after high school for
my
2000.
first smartphone like early 2000s. Yeah.
That's when we first started suddenly knowing everything that's going on in the world 24/7, and it's not good for hormones, and it doesn't allow us to sleep very well. I have a client who I kind of just keep my mouth shut at the beginning of all of her sessions, because she starts off with, when it's like, hi, how are you doing? How have you been? Well, you know how it is. Our world's going to shit. And I'm like, okay, all these terrible things that are happening, and the people getting deported and this and that. And I'm just like, shut your mouth, don't comment, wait till her rant's over, and then move into what you actually want to talk about. And then also include, like, hey, we don't need to be, one of the things that's affecting you is this, like, constantly looking at the news. How are you? Oh, and she's like, why does my health even matter when all of these things are going on in the world? And I'm like, so I kept my mouth shut. But when the time came, I was like, your health matters, because without your health, you can't do anything about what's going on. You can't do anything with your health, you know, but the little bit that you can do, you won't be able to do it if you're sick. So that's why it matters. Like, you want to help the people getting deported, you need to be in good physical.
Yeah. Well, it's like the people, old people. I don't know why they do this. They have the news on as background, like all day. Like, why?
Well,
Like, what?
Hispanic people have, not really, Hispanic older people have the novelas, or the Spanish talk shows, not really the news. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like turn off the TV and go outside.
Yeah.
Like when you're out among the trees, you know how many problems you have? None. None. There are no problems out among the trees.
That's where chronic stress comes in, you guys. Chronic stress will keep your body inflamed, not being able to process any of things that you do.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, if your diet was good, your sleep was good, and you exercised, stress alone can probably
Derail most of
destroy all
that.
those other things.
Yeah.
If it's bad enough, right? I mean, we're all going to have a small level of stress of some sort. It's normal. You have to have it. But chronic stress is when you're constantly stressed every single day, all day long,
Yeah. Like you never turn it off.
which
And
so
that's
many people are.
where, one, like reevaluate like your lifestyle, what you're consuming. But if the other thing like you find is like anxiety and depression are largely linked to your gut health and your diet. And so as you change what you're eating, most people see those things disappear, go away.
Yeah. And also the um the need to live constantly on the go, right?
Yeah.
Like, you've got work, you've got student activities, and your children all have like two different extracurricular activities that they have to do. And, you have to go, and you don't say no to anyone. So you're always doing stuff, and you're always busy, and you're not even home until 8 p.m. at night after work. That is not good for you, not good for your health. And my life, I might seem like I don't do much. I do plenty for my family. We live well. We are healthy. We're happy. We go out in the sun. We take hikes. That's good for us. And our day ends at 6.
Mhm.
And our last meal of the day is at 5. and we're in bed by 8. So like that is not normal for most people. That when I tell people what time I go to bed, they're in shock. How can you
Yeah.
go to bed? How old are you? Like you're not a little kid. I'm like, uh, that's why I need to go to bed earlier.
No, I go to bed at 8:30, but my alarm goes off at 5:30. So
I mean, you
I need to
need more
sleep.
hours in the day, get up earlier,
Yeah.
go to bed earlier. You still get, it's still the same amount of time that you're getting, but you're either getting it earlier or later.
hmm
And it's better to get it, to go to bed early, wake up early. That's how you're supposed to, the rhythm that your body wants to be in.
The other thing I think we should discuss is what a healthy approach to fitness looks like. Because so many people have these broken relationships in that, it's that whole no pain, no gain nonsense. So our approach is look at it from a hunter-gatherer point of view. If hunter-gatherers had to run hard 60 minutes every day, they wouldn't have survived because they didn't have food just abundantly available like we do today. And we're fortunate in that sense. But what did their fitness routine look like? They walked a lot, so lots of general daily movement. That's going to keep your heart rate low. That keeps you in the fat burning zone. So get up from your desk, go for a walk, take the stairs, park farther away, all these things that you've heard. Every once in a while, maybe like twice, 3 times a week, go lift heavy things. And then once a week, you're going to do sprints. That's what hunter gatherers would have done. They would have moved a lot, just general movement. Once in a while, they'd have to lift something heavy, whether it was an animal that they had killed or they needed to build shelter. And then there were those situations where they needed to get away fast.
Mhm. Yes, exercise, our relationship with exercise is a terrible one. One of the first things that people want to do to when they think of weight loss is I need to start running.
Mhm.
They don't even like go into the nutrition first. Nothing. I need to start running. And that is the last thing that you really need to do. You need to start walking.
Going for a walk after dinner is better for you than running.
We need to really change our mentality around exercise for people, for women our age, especially. I walk, can lift some weights a little bit. I mean, and I know that the lifting weights thing can be difficult because it's someone has to teach you to do it. People don't really know how to do that.
What I see is they don't think of keeping your toes, your knees, and your hips in alignment. Like if your foot is going out or your knees going in or out, like that's where you start to get into trouble. Start with lighter weights, lift slowly. You get your gains as the muscle lengthens, not when it contracts. So you're doing a bicep curl as your hand's going down. That's where you want to go slow.
You want to push with your legs, or you want to whatever, mind muscle connection is important, and like feeling it where you're working it is important, and all those things.
Yeah. So mindset. So a lot of people have this track record of doing like conventional diets, calories in, calories out. And so they have this track record of failure. And so it's in the back of their mind of, okay, I'm going to do this new thing. But subconsciously, they're thinking, yeah, but it's probably not going to work because nothing else has ever worked. And so it makes it easier for you to self sabotage yourself if you're starting something with the belief that it's not going to work.
The mentality that this is I'm just a chubby person, that I've always been chubby, or the mentality that it's genetic, that mentality can make or break you completely, right? Because you believe that this is how you are, so you don't even try that much anymore. Your parents raised you, so their habits they pass down to you. They didn't, it's not that it's genetic, it's that you have the same bad habits that your parents did. Your genes are turned on and off depending on your lifestyle.
It's not the human default. I mean, if that was truly like your genetic inheritance, you wouldn't be here because your ancestors would not have survived for your DNA to be in 2025. It just wouldn't happen. The other thing is people want results fast. I want to lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks. That's not realistic. And whatever you would have to do to lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks, you're not going to keep it off. And so you have to have expectations that are realistic for you. Because that's the other thing of, well, I want to lose, 20 pounds in 2 weeks, but I only lost two. My body's broken. This doesn't work. And you give up.
Mhm. Yeah. You're not going to lose that much weight in 2 weeks. You're not even going to lose that much weight in 1 month. Ideally, you're going to lose a pound a week.
Yeah. Whatever changes you're going to make, choose things that you're going to do forever, the rest of your life. And ultimately, everything comes back to why. Like, why does this even matter? Why do you want to lose weight? And it's usually not the weight. It's usually comes down to like body confidence, or maybe you saw family members struggle with health conditions and you're like, you know what? Like, I don't want that to be my story. Or maybe you're like, I want to dance with my daughter at her wedding and I'm not doing very well right now. Whatever your why is, it should be something that hits you on that deeper level. Like,
Yeah.
wanting to lose weight, it's not very motivating. It's not very exciting.
It's not. It might seem
wanting,
exciting at the beginning, but it's just doing the same thing over and over. It's not that much fun. Like the excitement wears off.
yeah,
That's why you have to. That's why it's not supposed to suck. That's why what you do needs to be enjoyable to you, right? Like you need to enjoy your exercise routine. You need to enjoy the food that you're eating, because if you're not enjoying it, you're not going to do it for long term, and you're not going to give it a chance to work.
yeah.
That's why eating egg whites and oatmeal doesn't work, because it's
It's not
no
good.
one, it's not good at all. And of course, you're only going to want to do that for a month,
Mhm.
and then the other thing, another big mental thing, barrier that people fail to think about is, it's like, well, for example, I did keto and it worked for a while, but then I gained it all back. That is not the diet's fault. It's not, you didn't rebound because keto did that to you. You rebounded or you gained all the weight back because you stopped doing what you were doing. And people tend to say this a lot. It's like, well, yeah, but as soon as I stopped it, I gained the weight back. Yes.
Of course,
Yes, you gained the weight back
because you
because
went back to all of your old habits.
all the old habits. This is where we're saying, is this a lifetime of a journey if you want to lose weight, keep it off, and be healthy. And let me tell you something, I did not see results for myself until my mentality went, and I can have CrossFit to thank for that. My mentality went from my desire to be skinny to a desire to be strong and fit and feel good. When that changed, everything changed. What drives your failure is the idea that I want to lose weight now. And if I don't lose weight now, then the diet didn't work. And then if the diet worked, but when I stopped it, I gained it all back, the diet didn't work. Didn't see. It's a lifetime journey. You cannot expect results if you are not doing the work on a daily basis. And negative self-talk, that's something that I have to mention to people all of the time. It's because I'm just not motivated right now, or I'm feeling really motivated right now, or I'm not feeling motivated right now. And that is how they approach the entire thing. You're either motivated or you're not. But guess what? Motivation is a bitchy friend. She is not there when you need her. She's only there when she wants to be. That is not the kind of friend you want to depend on. Now, discipline, on the other hand, will be there for you all of the time, right? So you can use motivation. Like when they're present, it's fun, right? Like your workout feels way more fun when you're motivated. Great. Accept her into your friend group and let her hang out with you, but don't depend on her. Instead, build habits and discipline. And then what happens when you have discipline is that you will do it regardless of how motivated, because this is what I do. It's like your habit, right? The habit of Every morning I pick up coffee and a donut for breakfast. You don't need more to be motivated to do that. It's a habit, right? So you build the habit, build the discipline, and it happens. So I go to the gym 4 times a week, not because I'm motivated to go to the gym, not because I'm like, hell yeah, this is so much fun. Every single day I'm motivated. Every single day I want to pump iron. No, it's because it's what I do, because it's my discipline. It's my habit to do it. And then you don't depend on motivation. Depending on motivation is only going to work for so long.
And not very long.
Not very long. Because the moment you know, you were motivated all week, but you didn't lose a single pound. Motivation gone.
Mhm.
That's how it works. You're motivated because you think it's going to work, and then it doesn't work immediately. And now it's gone. But if you just, damn it, I haven't lost any weight. Let me just keep going. And you keep going. And maybe the following week you still don't lose any weight. But you keep going and you keep doing the right thing. You keep doing the walks, you keep doing the weightlifting, you keep making the right choices when it comes to food, which is harder. That's another topic that I'd like to talk about in a minute. You just keep doing it. You don't question it anymore. This is what you do.
So, what do you think about emotional eating? Do you think that's a thing?
Yeah, I do. I think people, I have clients who stress, like yeah, I mean, I guess you can chalk it up to other stuff as well, but I do think that you're sad, so you eat. That's something that parents taught people to do, right? It's like, stop crying, here, have a cookie.
It's because sugar used to be rare. So, whenever there was some sort of celebration or congratulations, somebody would bake you a cake or cookies or bring some sort of sugary treat. Now we have sugar in everything, in everywhere. And so, from a young age, it's wired into us that when you need to celebrate or when you need to feel better, you have sugar. So, it's this subconscious, built in thing. And then all of our food companies have come and added chemicals to things to trigger your cravings, to make you eat more. And so, what I've seen is as people break up with sugar, get away from those food additives, a lot of that emotional stuff goes away.
Mhm.
What do you think?
I think that it's a combination of all of those things. I think the emotional eating exists and it is increased more so by the addiction to the foods, right? So it's a combination of both of those things. Eating when you're stressed or happy or sad or happy or all of celebratory foods, those are all habits. And then there's the food, the addiction to all the sugar and the processed stuff, right? And it's just a combination of the both of those things. One does help the other. If you if you stop doing it, one will help the other to go away and support. You know what I mean?
And I think just having the awareness of like, okay, say it is true emotional eating. What is it emotionally that you're really trying to fill? And because there's not some chocolate bank that we all have that needs to be filled. Like what do you need? A friend? Do you need a hug? Do you need maybe go outside, get some sun, journal maybe? Like what do you
And
really
that's where
need?
I guess, and I think what is it, James Clear on Atomic Habits talks about this also.
I don't know.
The response to triggers, right? So I'm sad, I want a donut. And like you said, being aware of that and instead saying, I'm not going to have the donut. I'm going to go out for a walk instead. And that doesn't feel comfortable at first, but the more you're conscious about it and you do it, the more likely you will be to eventually break that habit of like reaching for the donut when you're stressed, happy, or sad. It can be an emotional response. I mean, if you think about it, there's foods, even for me now, right, that I'm like, I remember eating that when I was a kid. That memory makes me want to eat that thing
Mhm.
because it's nostalgic, right? That's an emotion.
I mean,
That's
that's
emotional.
for me, like, that's like holiday stuff. Like, what are you having for Thanksgiving? That's one day of the year.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, it's fine, but that's for you, right? These most people, that's one day out of the year, out of that month. Christmas Eve, maybe also one day out of that entire month. Even Halloween can be one day out of it, But for most people, those 3 months connect into one big ass holiday. And is, that is just like the destroyer of everything 3 or 4 times that day, 5 times that day, depending on how many times you're going to eat or snack or, right? Not opening the refrigerator and pulling out food constantly throughout the day. So it's a lot harder for people to accomplish the nutrition portion of it because of that reason, right? Like exercise is one time you make the choice once that day, whereas food you have to consistently make the right choice always, 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 over and over again. You're presented with having to choose between one food or the other. So that's another thing that can really not be helpful when it comes to reaching your goals, right? Implementing sustainable habits to your life. For example, having routines on in your day, right? So having too much to do, a lot to do in one day makes everything like taking care of yourself harder. And you do not have to do all of those things. Implement a healthy sleep schedule, exercise, and healthy eating habits, right? And those things can be sustainable. It's everything else that shouldn't be sustainable. Filling up your entire day with activities and chores and doing things for people.
And then adding these new habits, there's something where you can add touch points to your day. So, like in the morning, like say you get up and you make coffee, swap out the instant breakfast or the, you know, whatever nonsense creamer for like actual half and half. Half and half is usually just milk and cream. A lot of times heavy cream has like gums and all kinds of nonsense on it. Like just making that one simple swap, putting your water bottle next to where you're going to make your coffee. Maybe adding some collagen to your coffee, putting your workout gear next to your car keys the night before. Just little things. So, like, as you're going about your day, it's already there. Like, you don't have to put extra effort into it because you've already set your day up for success.
Right. Take your gym bag with you to work if that's necessary, because I get it. Coming home, changing and leaving at the after work is unlikely to happen for most people.
Say you're going to go to the gym 3 times this week, put 3 sets of gym clothes in your bag and just leave the bag in your car. I mean, make it easy on yourself.
One thing that I don't work out that early anymore, but in the past when I wanted to get up at 5 in the morning to exercise, not having like just having to pull out my clothes out of the drawer and find it, and then made it immediately like, oh, if I do that, I'm gonna wake up my husband.
Uh-huh.
That's your excuse.
Yeah.
So not that I want you to wake up that early, but have it out. Eliminate as many barriers as you possibly can for yourself.
Like identify like what gets in your way, what makes you not successful, and then figure out how do you sidestep that. So I know for me, this is true for everybody. When you don't have a well-stocked refrigerator, when you don't have things you can quickly just grab and eat, that's where poor decisions happen. So rather than spend an hour or whatever in the kitchen every night making dinner, when you're going to make your hamburgers or your chicken breast, whatever, make some that's going to last for a few days. So you can just reach in there and, grab it and eat it.
My breakfast every day was 2 boiled eggs, 2 slices of bacon, half an avocado. And I would take that to work with me. Everything was already pre-made. It took me 2 minutes to pack it and take it with me.
Yeah,
And that was my
after
breakfast.
I make my like meat cookies, hamburgers in the oven, I make a whole bunch of them, 2, 3 pounds worth. And then as I'm putting them away, I put them into small containers that I'm going to take to work. Like, don't make it
Those are
hard.
things that doing they're small and easy changes that will go a long way to help you, right? Do your groceries over the weekend. Make sure that your fridge is stocked for the week ahead. Look at your meal every single time you're going to eat. And is there protein on my plate?
Animal protein.
Chicken, beef, fish, shrimp is an amazing source of protein. Do you know how much protein there is in shrimp? It's crazy.
I don't eat fish or seafood.
But still, salmon, like eggs, bacon, is that on your plate? Any of that on your plate?
Any animal
Any
that you
animal
want to eat.
protein, and not one egg, not a tiny chicken thigh, 2 or 3 chicken thighs, or a big ass steak.
Do
Right?
you
Like that's
know
what it should look like.
how many eggs I ate yesterday morning?
7.
I had 6. But I have a question for you, because I don't know if this is true. I know this is true for me. If I made 6 scrambled eggs, I wouldn't be able to eat them all. But if I eat 6 where I just flip them over, they're easy to eat.
Yeah.
Like, why is that?
Well, they kind of make more.
But
And
does
there's
it?
more
I
bulk.
mean, 6 eggs is 6 eggs. You're
Yeah,
telling me
but
it's
they
the
still make
air
more
fills
bulk.
me up?
No, I think it depends. For me, like, okay, that's true, right? That 6 over easy eggs are easier to eat. They're faster.
Mhm.
You eat them faster too. Scrambled eggs, not so much, unless they're like, I don't like to cook my eggs all scrambled all the way through. I like
Mhm.
them a little bit soft.
Like Gordon Ramsay style?
Yeah, and that makes it easier to eat them too, right?
That's true. That is pretty
Like
delicious.
completely overcooked eggs,
Yeah,
I
no, those
don't
are
even think I could eat them out. So
rubber
they have
eggs.
to be a little bit soft still, a little bit like others would call it raw, but they're not raw. And of course,
Creamy
butter.
eggs. Yeah. Again, managing your stress, and that's just not just your life, that's your fitness, your sleep, your, approach to exercise, your lifestyle. Because
Things kill 2 birds with 1 stone, like going for walks. You're getting exercise, you're getting movement in, you're also helping your stress and your mental health by doing it because it is amazing what a walk in nature can do for you.
it's like going to bed. You're going to have more energy the next day, and then you're just going to be easier to be like, hey, you know what? Like, I want to go for a walk because I feel good.
Mhm. They're compounding all of those things. It's like you do one thing, it leads to the other, it leads to the other, it leads to the other,
Yeah. I mean, I
and
don't know about
vice
you,
versa.
but if I'm tired, everything that happens that next day is a much bigger emotional deal than if
Yeah.
I'm not tired.
Oh yeah.
Like, you can cut down stress
Everything's harder to do.
just by going to bed.
When I'm tired, I just want to lay outside in the sun. That's all I want.
The progress that's easier to focus on, that I feel like feels more rewarding, is how is your sleep? How do you feel? How's your digestion? Are your clothes fitting a little bit differently? Does your skin look better? Is your hair looking better? Like, those are the things to focus on.
And pay attention to your body. Listen to the signals that your body is giving you because it tells you so much. If you start doing that, and at first, it's hard to get it because you're not in tune with your body. But over time, the more you do it, you will get in tune with your body, and then you can identify the signals. I'm sure Jen can tell you the same thing. I can tell you what eating this meal is going to do how it's going to make me feel afterwards. I can tell you like if I'm going to be gassy, if I'm going to get a headache, if I'm going to get sleepy, if I'm going to, all of the things.
If my joints are going to hurt, if my face is going to be puffy, if I'm going to be red around my nose, if I'm going to have diarrhea, if I'm going to be constipated, my joints going to hurt, like, am I not going to be able to sleep? All the things, like, things that people think are normal, or like, as your doctor will tell you, like, oh, like, you're just getting old. No, like, there's usually something that triggers that.
Use those signals to make the changes that you need. It's so helpful.
And even then, like, the eating late, like for Isabel, like, she won't sleep. If I eat late, I'm fine. But I find that I wake up in the morning hungry, like starving hungry. I don't know why. I wake up hungrier if I eat later. I don't know. But it's just so, like, what we're telling you, like what our experiences are, they may or may not be the same for you. So don't take, and that's where
It's
It's
where
the
you listen to
ultimate
your body.
N=1 experiment, meaning like you're the only person in this experiment. And honestly, you're the only one that matters. And so I have a healthy habit library that comes with all these different PDFs, planners, mindful eating. But in there, you go and just start tracking like what you're eating, how you feel. And that's how you start to sort of figure these things out for yourselves. And this is what I do in my coaching. Like I gradually wean you off sugar, and then we go into keto. And then I start talking to you about different categories of foods and how they can affect you. And I gradually transition you over to carnivore if that's something that you think you want to do. But along the way, my goal is to help you figure out what works for you and what doesn't. Because ultimately, isn't that the whole point of this?
Yeah.
Like,
Having a coach is going to be very helpful. I mean, and you guys know we're here to help if you need help. It's just to have somebody run these things by you, point them out to you. It's very helpful, right? Like, you know what? I hadn't even thought about that. You're right. Let me try that out. It's just great to have somebody. So reach out to us, please. I know, Jen, are you going to include the PDFs in the show notes for your
I
habit
will
tracker thing?
I will include a link to the Healthy Habit Library. Also, Isabel and I are going to start holding office hours for our
Yeah.
Substack subscribers on Monday afternoons at 5 Central,
6 Central.
6 Central. We will be available to chat, answer your questions, help you with whatever you want to talk about.
And we'll put the link to that also in the show notes. I'll also post about it on Instagram, and maybe we can add the link on there as well, to make it easy for you guys to find it and show up. Well, I want to recommend the book Atomic Habits. I don't know if you have a book that you want to recommend today.
That is a really good book, Atomic Habits.
Very helpful.
He makes some really great points on how to set new habits and how to make them stick. Because I feel like that's where a lot of people tend to go backwards. Like, one, people aren't doing the right things. So, first, you got to make sure you're doing the right things. And then, two, you got to make sure you're not sabotaging yourself. That's the other side of it.
Yeah. So Atomic Habits, if you guys are interested in making changes to your lifestyle, and it's okay to any habits, that book is really great. So what else, Jen? Are we good for now?
I think we're good.
Bye.